The Philippines is a country rich in natural resources. "30% of its land area has untapped mineral reserves. The extractive sector has the potential to contribute to the country's economy. On May 22, 2013, the Philippines was admitted as a candidate country by the EITI International Board. To institutionalize Philippine EITI, Executive Order Number 147 was issued by President Aquino, creating PH-EITI and establishing its mandate.
The administration of President Noynoy Aquino has always believed that good governance is the key to pushing the economic growth and the social development of this country. Diba, sabi nga natin, kung walang corrupt, walang mahirap. And so in the process of putting together the policy on mining for his administration, the idea of also adapting EITI and participating in this international standard was readily accepted.
We welcomed Executive Order 79 when that was announced by the President and obviously committed the Philippines to joining EITI. And we've been delighted ever since that the government has pursued this particular policy and that we're moving in the right direction.
The Department of Budget and Management has spearheading also the Open Government Program, the participation of the Philippines in that bigger transparency and accountability initiative of governments. And some people also briefed him about the EITI. So in putting together the new policy, which eventually the President signed as Executive Order 79, we already included participation in EITI. And during the national conference, that's when we officially constituted the multi-stakeholder group. And then subsequent to that, we had the signing of our Memorandum of Understanding, as well as eventually then officially convene now not the interim, but the actual multi-stakeholder group.
This administration has been known to shed more light into previously dark corners of the bureaucracy. And the goal of the EITI is to be among the doors and windows that will shed light and progress transparency into something that becomes more effective governance for the whole country.
But as far as we're concerned, we're implementing it at the national level, and the goal is to at least clarify the economic contribution of mining in the industry. So far, it has given us a venue to discuss and meet and really aim for disclosure of information that will give us sufficient data to analyze the real economic impact of mining oil and gas in the country.
Key to EITI implementation is to get the different stakeholders, which normally would be contending parties, to agree to join forces to pursue the initiative. And so among the first things that we did was to talk to the key stakeholders. For the business sector, we tapped the Chamber of Mines and talked to them about it. And as I said, they were the ones in fact pushing for this. So they of course readily agreed. And then for the NGO side, we were lucky that there's an existing federation of NGOs that are already engaged with government under the Open Government Program. That's Bantay Kita. And they agreed to serve as a convener for us to reach out to the other NGOs, including the IPs in the country. On the side of government, under the Mining Industry Coordinating Council, we identified the key government agencies that should be involved. So after a series of regional consultations that then culminated in a national congress of civil society organizations, which ended with them agreeing to officially participate in EITI. And then that was followed by a national conference where officially launched EITI.
The Philippines is one of the most prospective countries in the world. There are deposits of gold and copper and other commodities here, which should the Filipino government and people choose, that could be developed to create new jobs, new revenue here in the Philippines. EITI is a way of helping ensure that mining is managed in a way which is responsible.
I think what we've recognised is that some of the poorest countries in the world are those most blessed with natural resources, but unfortunately the wealth of those natural resources is not reaching the people most in need, and we want to put that right. And put simply, what we really want to do is remove the veil of secrecy that surrounds the extractive industry sector around the world.
But because of EITI, we have had a mechanism and an opportunity for these different groups to come to an understanding about each other and where each side's positions are coming from. And that really is the first step towards reducing conflict.
We see it making good progress in a number of countries and redressing some of the failures that have happened around extractive projects in some countries in the past. So we're keen to see it sort of work well in the Philippines.
It is a very transparent exercise, and we believe that the purpose of this eventually will create the correct information on what are the taxes really paid by the mining industry. Today, there are many figures that are coming out, but EITI will be the one that will really be the basis, aside from, of course, the government agencies, that will determine what is the real taxes that are being paid.
As EITI is successfully implemented here in the Philippines, that it'll help create a stronger regulatory environment for mining activity to take place, and particularly an environment in which government can have confidence of revenue flows, in which there's transparency to civil society about how mining revenues flow back to government, and it'll be one useful piece of a regulatory environment in which the Philippines can take forward a responsible mining industry.
And the public at large can look at this, and the public at large can investigate this and be sure themselves that the money is coming from mining, oil and gas is being spent properly and used by the government properly.
For the very first time, we will be able to have a broad overall picture of the mining, of the extractive industries, which includes mining and the oil and gas sector, and see really, give a context to whether or not they contribute to the Philippine economy, and if so, what is really the size of this contribution and what is the importance of these industries to the economy. For our people, it will also give them a better idea of what is the truth really, what is the true picture of these industries.
Of course, we want to produce a decent report that will empower communities to really understand the real economic contribution of mining, not only at the national level, but at the local level.
When I stepped down as the chair of the MSG, I want it to be something that's already institutionalized, something that's already structured, something that stands on solid foundation, an institution that's widely recognized both here and abroad as a bastion of credibility, transparency, and good governance.
It's really part of a national government initiative. And so one would be that we are part of the Open Government Program, which is the bigger context and under which all of the reforms are being undertaken, including bottom-up budgeting and all of that. Because at the end of the day, what's really important is how money is actually being spent. In addition to that, the EITI is also part of the Mining Industry Coordinating Council. This is one of the initiatives being implemented under that. So this will also be a venue for the necessary reforms that are needed, both in terms of policy and possibly some regulations, so that we can really strengthen transparency and accountability.
Ultimately, the vision of the Philippine Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative is to promote transparency and accountability in the extractive industries, which will lead to good governance of the sector. PHEITI, working towards more transparency and accountability in extractive industries.